What's up, guys? Happy Homebrew Wednesday. Here I am sitting here watching the NBA Finals, drinking a. It's not a homebrew, but it is a pretty darn good beer. This is the Dead Rise by Flying Dog. For some of you who don't know, this is a limited release beer. It is I believe it's an American wheat. It's not technically a Hefeweizen, I don't believe, but it's an American wheat beer with Old Bay seasoning, as you can tell with the crab, as I get it right. Should say Odo, right there. Should say summer ale brewed with spices. It's brewed with Old Bay. For some of you people who don't know what Old Bay is, it's what we in Maryland use on our crabs. Great seasoning. We use that shit on everything. We throw it on crabs, French fries, chicken wings, like little buffalo wings. Me and the missus, we throw it on our whipped cream when we're getting frisky. It's a big thing in Maryland. Big thing. If she ever watches this video, she's gonna kill me. Uh, but reason I'm drinking this is I'm actually right now low on homebrew. I like nothing left. We're going through everything, and I'm trying to save some stuff for when some relatives come out in July. So I'm trying to save certain things. So once I factor that in, I'm like, shit, I don't really have any homebrew to drink. If I'm saving these certain things for when the relatives come out. So I basically have to limp through until Friday when I will have a my brother-in-law. I made a Hefeweizen for him. Well, an American wheat, not so much a Hefeweizen, but an American wheat ale. Um, it's a take on it's a take. Gosh, it's killing me. What's it called? It's a take on Ithaca Brewing's apricot wheat ale, and then I also have my popcorn ale, which will be ready Friday as well. I brewed those both on the same day, and in fact, probably next week's video is going to be the brew session, where I compile everything from the brew, the fermentation, to my brother-in-law trying the beer out. So should be a blast. But let's get back to this video. So what's going on here? I already told you about my beer shortage, which I'll remedy. The next thing is I'm making some improvements to my brew system. My goal eventually is to have some sort of not fully automated, but kind of close to automated recirculating mash system. The reason for that, at least as of right now, is it seems that that's the best way to be able to keep certain temperatures um, two parts. One, to keep basically like a certain temperature and keep it right on that point, while also recirculating your mash the entire time. And the reason that those two things are important is one, you can keep a very precise degree of your temperature, which affects taste depending on what kind of style you're going for. And two, recirculating your mash is a very beneficial way of clearing out your beer. Now, what some of you guys might say is, hey, why don't you use gelatin, or there's other products for that? I agree. There are other products for that, but unfortunately, if I were to ever open up a brew pub in this area, I have to be very concerned about the things I put in my beer. One of which is gelatin. That's not acceptable in the Maryland, D.C. area. And you guys might be like, why? Who gives a shit? Well, in the Maryland, D.C. area, we have a lot of vegetarians and vegans. So using gelatin, which is made by animal products, is not acceptable in this area. It's not. That's why DC Brow, Right Proper, and Three Stars, those last two they're very small breweries, but they're well known in the area, do not use gelatin. And the reason for that is it would basically, people would burn their breweries to the ground in this area. We're very political in this area, Washington, D.C., as you would assume. So stuff like that's not acceptable. So that's why my goal is to get a recirculating system and basically figure out some way until I go maybe all electric or partial electric. Until I get to that, basically make a system that will recirculate and somehow keep temperature. So, in this video, I'm going to show you what my system was, and then what my system will be. Every now and again I misuse terms, and I apologize for that. One of the things I want to make clear is my goal going forward is to do a 90-minute mash. One of my favorite breweries, which is big in the area, is DC Brow. they do 90-minute mashes, and they also do 90-minute boils. Well, I've done 90-minute boils before, but I've never done 90-minute mashes. So it's something that I want to try for my next maybe 5 or 10 brew sessions, is to do a 90-minute mash and see if there's any differences. I also want to do a over the night an overnight mash, and see how that works out. Some people talk about doing that, saying it's an easy way to split up the brew day. So something to try. I mean, us homebrewers, we're really, until we're pros, all we're doing is experimenting. It doesn't matter what beer we're doing. It's pretty much all an experiment. So that's kind of how I'm really taking my system, as just something to experiment with. And as long as I don't make any, too big of mistakes, or do something like, drill too many holes in my pot, there's really no harm, no foul in experimenting. So if you guys have any comments, I really would appreciate your insights or questions or concerns, or just say, hey, did you think about this when designing your system? All that stuff, hit me up below, guys. I would greatly appreciate it. Other than that, check out my videos of my before and after, and looking forward to see your guys' videos this week, as well as some of those SJ Pour review videos. That's right, baby. It's SJ Pour time. SJ Pour comp. Hell freaking yeah. Alright, guys. Cheers. Catch you on the flip side.
Alrighty guys, so here in an extremely crude way is showing you what my brew setup kind of was. Under that pot and under that pot would be burners, so I have 2 burners. And then this sits up on top of another cooler that I have outside that's pretty sturdy. I've been drinking, as you can tell. Pretty sturdy, and so that basically is what makes my 2-tier system. So what I do is I mash out of this bad boy, then I sparge out of here, and I do that with this pump here. So basically, fly sparge, everything drains out from here into here. This is my boil kettle. It's my trusty old Mega Pot, the original, when they used to be a lot wider before this is the new 1.21. It's a lot skinnier, as you can see. So that's what it used to be. I really only used the pump for fly sparging. I've used it twice to fill up a kettle with water. Just didn't really notice any efficiency to that or anything gained. I still noticed that there were some dough balls. Not a ton. There were definitely a lot less, but I still had to mash it or mix everything around, so I didn't notice any efficiencies there. So that's what my system used to be. And check out what it is now. Okay, so here's the new system, and you might say, wow, all you did was put a brand new little right angle at the top, but I did more than that. Once you take this off, you'll see in there I got a nice little 1/2-inch nipple. That 1/2-inch nipple, what's going to happen here is I am going to, what I've decided to do, I ran this by SJ, so far so good. Our minds came together, and it's kind of based off of Sam Larkin, the Thrifty Brewer. It's based off of his system. What's going to happen is, I'm going to mash in here for 45 minutes. Nothing's going to change. I'm going to put a towel over this, so I really shouldn't lose that much heat. I've made sure that the gaskets on here are really freaking tight, so I have severe doubts that really I'm going to lose anything. Any heat at all. Really doubt I will. So what else I'm going to do is, I am, after 45 minutes of a regular mash, I am then going to hook up tubing that goes from the bottom of the mash tun down to here and gets recirculated from the pump. A tube is going to go from that quick connect all the way back up into the top in here. The idea is I want to see how much heat I lose. I've been reading online, a lot of people say you can test with water, but that's really not the best way to test and see how much heat you're going to lose. The best is actually just brew with it, because it's hard to simulate the thickness of a wort. Wort's much thicker than water. If you guys know anything science-wise, you know that the thicker something is, the denser it is, the more heat it retains. So basically what I want to do is I want to see, after a 45-minute boil, do another 45 minutes of just recirculating and see how much heat I lose. The idea is, with something as extremely insulated as this, I might only lose maybe 1 to 2 degrees every 15 minutes. That's what Sam said he was losing. So what I could do, if I'm noticing that, is from my hot liquor tank, I could always take some of my sparge water that's 180 degrees and maybe add 2 cups of 180 degree water every 15 minutes. And maybe there's a small chance that might be enough to keep my temperature within a degree or two of what I want. Now you might say, hey, that's a short-term fix, and you're right, it is a short-term fix. The whole point of this is to basically just keep me afloat in the recirculating in a recirculating system until Blickman gets their ass together and comes out with their electric brewery. As you can see, that pot, it's a mega pot, but it's got a lot of Blickman stuff on there. There's a lot of Blickman Quick. If you look down here, we have a Blickman Quick Connect. We have Quick Disconnects, which are an absolute pain in the ass to put together. There's a reason they're called Quick Disconnects and not Quick Connects. They take fucking forever. I'm an accountant, so I don't have as much muscle as maybe some of you guys that work in the field, but it took a bit of muscle to get that shit to connect. But once it's on there, it's nice, and I'll give it this, it is movable. I did a water test. It didn't leak, so I think we're going to be okay. Nice. Clean that up. So as you can see, Blickman Quick Connect, or Quick Disconnects and Quick Connects. I really like these things. I've used these before. This black part, this rubber, does not get hot. So when you put your tubing on here, if you want to basically take it off real quick, you will not burn the shit out of yourself like you will if you attempt to touch here or here. That'll be hot as hell. But getting back to my point. So this will recirculate for 45 minutes. And you might say, Joe, 45 and 45 is 90 minutes. You are correct. I have decided that I'm going to up my mash to about 90 minutes, and the reason for that is one of my favorite breweries, DC Brew, does theirs at 90 minutes, and I just want to try it for a little bit. I've done basically everything I've done is 60 minutes, so as you guys know, homebrewing is all about experimentation, so I want to experiment and see what happens with a 90-minute boil. Now eventually, I'm going to get around to the point where I take, where what I'm going to do is, the wort is going to come out of the bottom here. It's going to go into here. I'm going to have a stainless steel wort chiller in here. The wort will go through there. This will be filled up with water at 154 or between 140 and 156 degrees, depending on what style I'm doing or aiming for. The wort will come down from the mash chiller, from the mash tun, which is over there. It'll come through. It'll go all the way through my wort chiller, the stainless steel wort chiller, back up, over around, into the pump, back from the pump, up to here, and we'll just keep doing that over and over and over. And the idea is that I should be able to keep my temp. I will have a thermometer here, I'll have a thermometer here, and there's a possibility that I'm going to have a thermometer in the mash tun, one of those floating ones for right now, or I might just end up drilling another hole here and putting an extremely long thermometer in here. We'll see. It all depends, but this is what I'm looking at right now. Any questions, concerns, or comments, let me know. One, I think right off the top, you might say, well, hey, what happens when you eventually start sparging? Huzzah! What I do is, the connection that goes from here to down here gets taken off with my quick disconnects, or quick connects, and I basically then put a tubing from here to here, and then I take a piece of tubing from that ball valve, put it in here, and now we're fly sparging. Comes up, goes down, and comes out. I'm sure by now you guys are dizzy as hell with all this movement, but the reason I'm doing it is I want to show you what I'm doing. Also, if you have any questions, concerns, or comments, let me know. That is basically it for right now, so I will catch you on the flip side.